welcome. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to query data using Tableau. And now, if you are a data engineer or a data analyst, this is a very required skill to have. So this is going to be a quick overview of what to do in Tableau. So in Tableau, there is a concept called data sources. Data sources is basically connections to your data files. Now, you might have a data source called in Excel, or you might have a data source that's you might have to query the data out of a thing using Presto. You can bring your data as data sources using either like using a Presto connector to connect to your database, or you could have like a Microsoft Excel file that you need to bring in and import as a data source. Or you might also have data in your Tableau server as given data sources that you can connect to. Data sources on the Tableau server are like extracts that run and you can connect and use the data. In this example, I'm going to simply do it using a Excel spreadsheet and keep it very simple, where we have only very few columns. We have about less than 10 columns here, as you can see, and there's one table. So each data source you bring in, it counts as one table. Now there is more advanced things you can do, such as blending a data source and bringing two data sources together, but we will cover that in the next video. In this video, I'm just going to briefly talk to you about like what are the basics you really need to know about Tableau. So in Tableau, there's a concept of dimensions and metrics. Dimensions are anything like values, like are columns that you would use in your report or in your thing. Like for example, day is a dimension. Metrics are like values that have numeric values, right? Like the lot capacity in this case. So this data set is about a parking lot. It's a smart city analysis, and in this data set, what we have, over to give you an overview, it is like we have like data from eight lots, different lots, like imagine parking lots, and we are and it just tells you like what is the capacity of the parking lot and what is the occupancy of the parking lot at a daily basis for a couple of days, for like couple of weeks. So that's the data what we have. So now there's a lot of things that you can do, right? When I tell you I have a data set that's telling you this kind of information about a lot, say the parking lot, and then there are questions you can ask, right? There could be questions like, okay, which lot is like most utilized lot, in a sense like parking lot, right? I mean, everybody gets the concept of parking lot. So we're like, what we're going to write report, we're going to build some dashboards, a dashboard here that would show us this kind of information, like which is the most used lot, right? So that we can build a smart city app on top of this, saying that maybe people, instead of all going to lot 2, should go to lot 3 or 4. And also we can do analysis on like what time of the day is the lot most occupied, right? I mean, you would think that when people come to work, or during those hours, depending on where the lot is, right? If it's an office lot, it would be more occupied on Monday to Friday, but if it's a public parking lot, it will be more occupied on the weekends when people are more free and drive to it, right? So things like that. So but in this study, we're gonna check that. So now here's a simple report I have created. What I have is the day. So like, as you can see, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the days of the week. And this is telling you the average occupancy rate of the on a given day of the week, right? Out of all the data we have. Now there are a lot of things you can do to this data. There's concepts called filtering, and you can add things to the columns. How do you add in Tableau? You basically drag and drop. Now if I want to split this weekly date but the average occupancy across a lot code is like the different lots, it'll break it into that thing. So what you can see is lot 1. This is the thing, how crowded it is and how not crowded it is on given days of the week, right? So as you can see, lot 1, 60% utilized on Sundays, but during Monday to Friday, it's very heavily like utilized, right? It's occupied at 85% of 85%. So it looks like on the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, it's only 60%, right? So that's what this is. Now there are a lot of things you can add. This is so hard to read, right? Like I have to look at these numbers to understand. There are a lot of things you can do. You can add this occupancy rate, right? You can add the occupancy rate to the color. Now what happens is it colors the numbers, but again the scale that it colored is not good enough scale for me. I can go here, edit, and I can say instead of using a blue scale, use some other scale, maybe like a orange, red, green, orange, right? And yeah, if it's very occupied, then it's red, I mean it's green, and if it's not occupied, it will be red. So now look at the coloring. See, now this helps. This is exactly sort of what I read initially, right? Now I can read more clearly, like lot 4 is not at all utilized, right? You see, adding colors helps me look at the numbers more clearly, right? It tells me that lot 4 has so many reds. That means it's the least utilized lot, right? Anything that's super green, like this lot, everything is green. What does this tell you? That means this is the most occupied lot, right? Like always it's occupied, like 80% of the time on average it's always occupied. So that's what it means, right? So those are the things that these are the dashboard, these are the reports you can build, right? Once you build these sheets in Tableau, there are lots of fun. And okay, so this was a simple table graph, right? But you can build a different chart called you can choose these different charts. There are many chart options here. You can do like heat maps, you can do highlight tables, you can do pie charts, you can do like horizontal bars, vertical bars, stacked bars. You can do tree maps, and you can do like packed bubbles. I'll show you some examples of these I did. This is another analysis of a scatter plot I did using the same thing, occupancy rate, but what I'm showing here is like occupancy rate across two. I'm using a filter here. This is how you add a filter. And you can say show filter here. Whatever you want to add to the filter, you drag it to the filters column, and you can then do show filter. I'm only doing two lots now, but if you do show filter, I can choose more lots, right? So what this is doing is that it is showing you the scatter plot of the lot, say lot number 2 in this case, every day, right, at different times. So as you can see, it peaks up and then it peaks down. Is it like, it tells you that is it occupied or not, right? So that's what it tells you, right? As you can see, it's always occupied at 100%. At some lot 2 is always does go to 100% capacity, whereas if you add like lot 4, it's very like at the max it goes at a 50% capacity, which is what we saw in the previous graph, right? So this is an example of a scatter plot. Then you can also do this box plot, which are very fun and informational. It tells you the median and the lower whiskers and the upper whiskers. This is also by lot. So basically you drag things to the lot, to columns and rows. So this is different ways of looking at the same data. And you can also look at this one. This is the thing, right? So this tells you that this is this graph, the packed bubble graphs. As you can see, I used over here, you can see that I used occupancy rate in the color for coloring. If I remove this, you will see that there is no coloring, right? Everything is like just the size of the bubble. The size of the bubble now, right now, is detecting the lot capacity. Now what I'm asking is, color it by the occupancy rate, right? And I can adjust the color. I can say I want the color to go from red to green, or keep it these shades, right? So what this one does is occupancy rate is 14,000 out of the lot capacity of like right? So this is what it's telling us. So we can do a lot of these analysis, and then finally, once you have built your sheets, you can come and build a dashboard by simply bringing these sheets in together. To build a dashboard, you would create you would add some vertical containers, and you always embed your sheets in the thing, right? And you could add these sheets, like say we want to add this. There you go, right? And then you can put your filters on the top or on the side, and there's a lot of things you can do. So you bring all the sheets together into something called a dashboard, and then you also like you can adjust and place these correctly where you want them to be, right? So that's what. Oh, you can drag and drop it. You can order it if I want this on the top, or if I want to put both of these horizontally, I would add a horizontal container, and then I would bring these two together. Now, but you have to just drag and drop and hover over. Now you see the median occupancy rate is right next to the occupancy rates on the weekend, and that's as simply how you build a dashboard in Tableau, and you can adjust the size and proportion of it. You can hide the titles, you if you and give it your own title or text if you want. You can hide these titles, make it more neat and clean. And they're the best option I really like is fit the entire view, then it like takes the whole space. You always want to do that when you build dashboard. It makes it look very neat and clean, but it aligns everything. Make sure your things are aligned, and yeah. And it's fun building dashboards in Tableau. There's so much information that you can provide, and so much value in a very quick way to look at data and visualize data, which is a very handy tool, and you need to know if you are a data engineer or a data analyst. The next thing you should also learn is definitely I will make a video about the level of dimensions. There are the 3 levels of dimensions, and you'll be always asked if you ever have a Tableau interview. Those are the questions you'll be asked, like give me what explain to me, like when you're interviewing for data engineering roles, they'll ask you or data analyst jobs, they'll ask you what are the types of joins: inner joins, outer joins, left join, right join. Same thing with Tableau. The most important common question is the level of dimensions, right? How do you build those? And that's something that you should learn, and I will explain in my next video. Thanks for watching.